Losing motivation is one of the key problems that people find when it comes to succeeding at anything in life, because without motivation, not only will it stop you from trying anything, but also sticking at it and keeping on point and in control of that part of your life. It means that you end up just doing anything else except that one thing that will lead you to feel the happiest. So it's a really important topic for us to discuss, because when we understand why it is we lose motivation, it puts you in a different frame of mind. And the first thing that we need to talk about is validation. Because if your validation source is rooted in success, then what's going to happen is that unless you get it right the first time, you're going to get bored and frustrated and angry, which means you'll end up procrastinating and doing something else. So you need to start thinking about where your validation source lies, what it is you find success in. Getting it right leads you to feel good. So if feeling good is what leads you to feel motivated, then you need to start thinking about a different way to relate to that task, because we're not going to get it right every time. And if getting it right is the most important thing, you're going to do things that lead you to feel that you're getting something right. So it leads you to procrastinate, doing a task which isn't on point with where you want to get to, but leads you to feel that you've got this. You can get it right, it's easy. And so many of us end up picking the easier path every time, and that easier path doesn't usually equate to you getting that thing done. It's just about reframing what you see as the necessary steps. And if the necessary steps are involved feeling good the whole time, you're always going to put that harder task on the back burner. And something that's going to help you to do that is to understand the difference between short-term gain versus long-term reward. Because throughout our lives, we're always being met with these short-term gains. And these short-term gains lead us to feel good over and over and over again in the moment. Your brain is actually designed to seek out these short-term gains, because it's just your reward structure being ignited over and over and over again in the easiest, most succinct and quickest way. We have these little tasks throughout the day which lead us to feel happy and excited and feel that we've got our lives under control. But we have that part of our lives under control, but those bigger projects that you're working on are actually not in your control at all. And if we see those short-term gains as the most important part, then we end up just focusing on those short-term gains, doing those things over and over and over again, but lead us to feel like we haven't actually achieved anything. And that contentment comes from doing those longer term goals, those things that you've been working on for so long, or you've been thinking about doing for so long. Remember, if you're just focusing on doing those short-term gains, then you're never going to finish anything. You're just going to keep on procrastinating and doing those easier tasks rather than the harder task, but the one that will give you that sense of happiness. And this leads to a lack of self-belief in doing those harder tasks, because you feel, well, I can do all this stuff really easily. I'm not good enough to do that harder, more laborious task. You end up just feeling, well, what's the point in me even trying? Because I end up getting it wrong over and over and over again. That self-belief is something which is going to help carry you forward. And without that self-belief, you're not going to feel motivated to do something. Remember, we're built to feel happy. We're built to be safe. So then, that self-belief is something which we really need to work on, because if you don't feel able to have that belief that you have what it takes to get it done, then you're never going to end up trying anything. You're never going to be motivated to do anything new, because you're just going to think, well, I'm not that sort of person that can succeed. Which leads us on to the next part of the reason why you're not motivated, is that your whole identity has shifted. Because if you're thinking to yourself, I only see the benefit of doing short-term gains, I'm not good enough to do anything longer term, and I don't have what it takes to succeed, and I can't deal with failing, then you're going to have this identity which is rooted in doing the easier task, being safe, secure, and not taking risks, not trying those things in the longer term, because you're going to feel, well, I don't have what it takes, I can't do this. So then you need to start working on yourself, thinking about it in a different way, thinking about how you can start to sit with that sense of being you, and that you being good enough, that you having what it takes to get those tasks done. It does mean a little bit of a shift because you're going to have to get used to not getting that little spike of happiness in short succession over and over and over again, and instead see the benefit of doing something over the longer term. And I talk about this loads in other videos about how to create those short-term gains in a long-term project, because those short-term gains lead us to feel that sense of contentment and happiness, and actually build our sense of self-worth, our self-esteem, because otherwise we're just going to be on this long road not knowing how long it's going to take, or even if we're going to get to that point which we need to get to. So it's really important then to have those foundations so that you feel able to sit back and relax in this state of not knowing that you're doing everything you can to get to that end point, and that you're the only person that can get there because you are good enough. The last thing I want to talk to you about is patience, because as I've just been talking about, we don't know if you're going to get to the end point. So you might need to go back a couple of steps or even start all over again. And if you don't have patience, you end up getting bored and frustrated and going off and doing that short-term gain again, not sitting with that long-term goal that you have for yourself because you're not patient enough. And again, we've got so used to feeling that sense of happiness that it's quite normal not to be patient. We just want it now, right? Why we want to wait for it? So there you have it. Those are the 5 main reasons why you lose motivation. So what you need to start thinking about is this: which ones of those are applicable to me? Which ones do I need to start to recalibrate in my life, to reformulate and to tackle, so that instead of losing motivation, I can be on point with where I want to get to? Because if you keep on losing motivation, you're never going to get to where you want to get to. You're never going to succeed, and you're never going to feel that sense of pride that you've gone out and done what you've always wanted to do. And you're always going to feel lacking, which is why you end up doing those short-term validation tasks. Start focusing on the end picture. On that note, I'm going to wish you all the best. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's given you the motivation to keep on going. Remember to like this video and subscribe, so you plenty more to come. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.